Oh, it smells so good. Hello everybody, welcome back to the True North Life, and today we're gonna make cherry pie. We are going to be working in our kitchen, but first we have to clean it up. That's better. The first thing that we're going to make is our crust. All you're going to need is a half a teaspoon of sugar, a 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, half a pound of salted butter. If you're using unsalted butter, all you have to do is add a half a teaspoon of sea salt or table salt to the mix. We're going to be using chilled water, so there's been ice cubes sitting in this for a while. And a food processor and plastic wrap. So let's get started with that. Everything is going to go right into our food processor for making our crust. First, we're going to start off with the 2.5 cups of flour. This is also where you'd want to add in your salt if you're not using salted butter, as well as your sugar. So I've ended up switching over to my KitchenAid mixer because I realized that my food processor that I have is a little bit too small for this recipe, and we have a KitchenAid, so why not use it? Now we're going to add in our butter. And then we are going to add in we're going to start off with 6 tablespoons. If we need to add more, then we can add more. Now that we've taken our dough out of our food processor, we've checked it to make sure there are no clumps in it, and then we're going to separate it into 2 separate pieces. We don't want to knead the dough too much right now. Just want to make sure that it is nicely in a nice cylinder so that we can pack it up and put it in the fridge for 1 hour. We're going to go ahead and leave these in the fridge for 1 hour. Now we're just going to roll out our dough. To make this a little bit fancier, we're just going to take a regular ramekin and press it into the dough, and this will make our top crust for our beautiful cherry pie. We're just going to go ahead and lay out our circles to make sure that we have enough to cover the top of our cherry pie. Now that we've made our pie crust, we're going to go ahead and start with our cherry pie filling. These cherries that I'm going to be using today, we have about 6 cups of them, but they're smaller. They're from our cherry trees from our property. They are sour cherries, so if you are using sweet cherries, use about a 3/4 cup of sugar in this recipe. Because I'm using sour cherries, I'm going to be using a full cup of sugar just to make them a little bit sweeter. And you can see they are already pitted and clean. The ones are just about a year old. They just came out of our freezer. Our cherry trees are going to start producing here in the next couple of months, so these have got to get out of the freezer to make room for the ones that are going to come in. A couple of notes for processing the cherries: make sure that they're pitted. If you're going to freeze cherries, I would recommend everybody watching that you process them before you freeze them. Take it from me, I spent the last couple of days just pitting and cleaning and going through a mushier mess just because they were frozen beforehand, and they went in so nice to the freezer. It would have been a lot easier just to deal with them. When the cherries are ready this year, we are going to pull them off, and I'm hoping to can cherry pie fillings, as well as a little bit more of our jams that we went through, because we went through all of our cherry jam before the cherry tunes came back in. So obviously this is something we really enjoy and love sharing. I'm going to be doing a lot more with the cherries this year, which I'm super excited for. Let's get into making our cherry pie filling. So we've got our cherries there. We're also going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. Just give that a quick stir in. As well as 5 tablespoons of cornstarch. There we go. And just to spice it up a little bit, we're adding a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. So who doesn't like cinnamon? And we're just gonna give it a stir until we don't see that white anymore. We are also going to add our full cup of sugar, again, until we don't see any white. Oh, it smells amazing. It smells like they just came off the tree. Here we go, those are all mixed in together. And that's your cherry pie filling. We're gonna set that aside. Now don't hate me for this. So we did make a pie crust earlier. I do have a pie crust left over from somebody that brought one over. And we're just gonna use it up today because it's gonna go to waste, because obviously we can't have people over right now and I can't give it back to them. I'll just get them a new one when we can get back together. So we made our pie crust and we're gonna cover the top and make it all nice and fancy. But for the bottom, I am going to be using a regular store-bought pie crust. So we're gonna go ahead and put our cherry mixture into the pie pan. Now we're gonna add a secret weapon, which is we're just going to pop a couple of the cold butter onto the top to allow that just to seep in and make it all yummy. So now that we put the butter on the top there, we're gonna go ahead and give it a little bit of a decoration. There we have the start of our pie. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the fridge while our oven is preheating. For our last step here before it goes into the oven, we are going to whisk an egg with a tablespoon of milk. There we go, for a little bit of an egg wash that we're just going to lather on over top of our crust. You can also use an egg wash as a glue to keep your pieces in place, which is excellent if you want to do a little bit more of an intricate design than this little guy. Finally, we're just going to sprinkle some old-fashioned brown sugar right onto the top. And into the oven it goes. And that is how you make a cherry pie. So this went into the oven at 425 for 30 minutes. Then we took the heat down to about 350 until those nice juices starting to pour over, so that we knew the inside was being cooked really well. And now we have a delicious pie that we're going to enjoy after our dinner. I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope that you enjoy a delicious dessert like this real soon. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Do you guys want to see what it's like to share the kitchen with somebody who's a foot taller than you? I need the food processor, and the processor thing for it is way up. Oh, there it is. Out of reach. Gotta go get the tall guy.